Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Awesome Sunday Show. Connor here.
And Pat.
And Pat, guess what? It's been a little while, but guess what we got today?
Some rando.
Some rando we got off the streets in a Leggett shirt that I happen to own as well.
I have one too.
Yeah.
So he's not special.
Well, okay. He is a very special guest. We only let special guests. And so very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I think he threatened us to be on here though.
Oh, he did actually. He called us and said, "We will kill you if you," or actually, "I will kill you." No, we will kill you because he has a twin brother that will kill us too. So why don't you introduce yourself, killer?
My name is Damian.
Damian what?
Daniello-Kraemer.
I like that.
Kukuza Jonesmore.
Yes, that's what I was going for. No, seriously, Damian, thanks for coming back on the show. Damian came on for the horror movie podcast we did in November.
That we did?
Yeah, that we did. It was a little late, but better late than never.
Oh, exactly.
But in all seriousness, Damian, thank you for coming back.
Anytime.
Yeah, I literally.
Yeah, right.
So today's podcast is an interesting one. We don't really have any news when it comes to the comics.
No, because there's nothing that's actually. Everything's just like people making a whole bunch of rumors that are pretty much unfounded right now.
The biggest thing in comics right now is Captain America saying "Hail Hydra." Cool.
Which is bullshit.
It's bullshit. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It's so annoying.
And the other thing is just casting rumors, like stuff we haven't talked about, like Brie Larson being the front runner for Captain Marvel.
Yeah, nothing really huge. So
I'm fine with that though.
No, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, me and I'd say that is a good idea. Me and Pat really like a movie.
Yeah, Pat and I
really like a movie. What's that movie called, Pat?
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yeah. So we were like, hey, let's do a podcast on this movie we like. So we decided to watch it. In the meantime, I was like, you know what? Let's call Damian. I saw him today. He's never. Well, actually, I didn't know you've never seen it before.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen this.
First time you've ever seen it. So me and Pat, we like the movie a lot. Pat and I, we like the movie a lot. So if you do that again, you're not allowed on the podcast. So anyway, Damian, we literally just finished watching the movie like 10 minutes ago, right?
Yeah, about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, so why don't you share like how you felt about the movie, if what you liked, disliked, whatever you want to talk about, man, and like we'll just feed off of it pretty much.
I thought it was pretty good actually. For the I've always seen clips of it and here or there it's been on TV. Never really got interested in it, but I thought it was actually really good. Surprisingly good.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I do like the director.
Edgar Wright.
Yeah, and so I was always interested in seeing it, but I just never actually got around to it.
Yeah, it's an Edgar Wright movie down to the T. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's very his style as far as like you get a lot of visual cues to what's happening. Hence, like in the Evil Exorcist part, you get like you always see the number.
Before each one.
Yeah,
and then sometimes during, like with the
shirts and stuff
with the shirts, like on Todd, the bassist.
Yep.
Was number 3, who had number 3 on his shirt. Yeah, there's a lot of subtle stuff in the background, a lot of visual gags that, like, I was saying to Connor before, I've seen this movie a lot, but this is one of the movies that each time I'm actually picking up like new jokes and new references in it.
Right,
which is great because that just adds to the rewatchability of a already highly rewatchable movie.
Yeah, and that's Edgar Wright all the way. All his movies, you can just watch and pick up something new. Like you just never really notice something.
Yeah, and in case you're unfamiliar with the names, he directed Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End.
And he was supposed to direct Ant-Man.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
but due to creative differences, unfortunately. But he was still credited as a writer.
Yeah, the original story.
Right.
They changed up his screenplay, but whatever.
True.
This came out about 6 years ago.
Yeah, it is 6 years ago. It's a 2010 movie. Believe it was released. I want to say it was released in the summer or fall. I remember seeing.
It was released in the summer.
It was released in the summer, and I saw it in theaters actually. Like literally the first week it came out. So, and I say that because I remember being there opening weekend, and like the theater like wasn't packed. The movie didn't really make a lot of money at all.
No, I don't think it made its budget back in theaters, but it developed a huge cult following afterwards and had a ton of DVD, Blu-ray, and digital sales.
Yes.
Which, is still good, getting something back. Deservingly so. This is a really good movie.
Yeah.
Critically, it was well received. It got like 80-something%.
Right, and I think it's been a little better appreciated over time. Like when I first saw the movie, like people I know that actually did see it were kind of like, it's all right. It just kind of, they thought it was way more style over substance. I don't think that's true.
I don't think so either. I think it's like every Edgar Wright movie. There's a beautiful balance of both.
Yeah,
that was my first thought on before I even saw the movie. I was like, oh, this is just a movie to look good, kind of like what's it called, Sucker Punch. That movie had no
there was no substance that movie
at all.
That movie sucks.
It does, but it seems like that was more of the style or the visual than over substance, and that's why I kind of figured this was going to be. So that's why I never really had to.
Wait, you mean Zack Snyder released something that was style over substance?
Oh,
no,
never.
No.
Anyway, yeah, there is a lot of style to this, and there's actually like Edgar Wright adds to his signature style in here. I think like obviously there's all the background gags, there's a lot of subtle puns and references, but with this, and like the fast editing, fast cuts, split screens and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of cuts in this movie.
There is a lot of quick cuts, but that's like what he's known to do. Even when he did the show Spaced with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, it was very similar. But in this, it's based off a comic book or like a graphic novel, and then there's a video game based on it. And this one brings both elements to it and does it very well, which is important to the the story. Like the effects in this are really great.
Oh, they're incredible.
Yeah, for a movie with not like a super high budget, it like the special effects are used sparingly, so it's actually beneficial because when they're
used when it counts.
Yeah, they're used when it counts, and they look good. Like, and a lot of it's not meant to be like super 3D animation. It's essentially the effects are just like 2D graphics on like certain things. So it's a lot of like the 1960s Batman series where you punch someone and you see the pow.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that.
It's a lot of stuff like that, but it's not corny.
Right.
It's done really cool, actually. Like, you don't hear like pow. You hear like a thump, like a real punch, but then like the pow comes like real fast.
Yeah, it's perfectly placed.
Yeah.
And then like a lot of comic books do that too, and they brought that in and blended it with the video game style of it. And then each time he accomplishes something, you see he gets a money reward, and then you see his experience points grow, and then at one point even gets an extra life, which obviously you have to get a certain amount of experience points in any games to get. And the fight choreography in this is awesome too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I was actually surprised about that.
Yeah, all the fights, all 7 fights, and 8 if you want to count how the last Evil X.
Well,
had 2
7
different
because
fights.
he fights 2 X's at once.
The twins.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it still bounced out to 7. But yeah, the fight choreography is awesome, I think.
Yeah, I really like it. There's like in the beginning, you kind of get a taste of where the movie's going. Like the movie already has a weird feel, like the first 20 minutes of it.
Yeah.
And then once you get into the first Evil X battle, before we get into the movie, if you haven't seen it or if you need a refresh, it's this guy named Scott Pilgrim who's 22 years old, starts off dating a 17-year-old Chinese Catholic schoolgirl.
Yeah.
And yes, the emphasis needs to be put on that. And
so a lot of jokes are actually based off that.
Yeah, and he ends up finding this girl named Ramona, and he ends up falling in love with her. She's his age. She has 7 evil exes that he has to battle in order to win her. So he goes through with it. That's the premise of the movie. The first battle is like the guy. I can't stand this guy. Like he's like literally like the biggest douchebag ever. Like even bigger than the last guy I thought. Just I don't know.
Because he was a pirate.
Yeah, he just was. And like, yes, I don't know. I mean, no, I do not hate hipsters, but like, yes, this guy was a douche hipster. Like,
Yeah.
And his stupid song, If You Want to, and his dance and everything.
like the song is terrible on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Right, because this should show how much of a tool he is.
Yeah, he is the biggest tool. And
Yeah.
even like Anna Kendrick is looking at him like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Anna Kendrick's in this movie.
Yeah, all right, let's go over the cast. It's Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona, Kieran Culkin as Wallace Wells, Scott's gay roommate and best friend, Ellen Wong as Knives Chow, Allison Pill as Kim Pine, who's the drummer in the Sex Bob-ombs, Scott's band.
That's
Mark
a great
Webber.
band name.
Yeah. Mark Webber, Steven Stills, a.k.a. The Talent, as they aptly refer to him. And then Johnny Simmons as young Neil. Anna Kendrick is Scott's sister Stacy. And Brie Larson is Envy Adams, Scott's ex. Aubrey Plaza is Julie Powers, who's like the obnoxious bitch throughout the entire movie.
Oh, wait. Aubrey Plaza's playing that role?
Never.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah. And then some other familiar names that you might notice. I'm not going to go through all of them because not a lot of them are popular. Bill Hader does the voiceover a little bit here and there throughout the movie. The Human Torch, Captain America himself, Kurt Evans is in it as one of the evil exes. And we actually, when Connor went upstairs for a second, Scott was wearing a Fantastic Four shirt, except it was 4.5. So I thought it was a nice little reference not only to the evil exes he's about to take on, but also to Chris Evans' Human Torch era. Brandon Routh as Todd Ingram, another one of the evil exes who ends up dating Scott's ex. And Jason Schwartzman as Gideon Gordon Graves, who is, a.k.a. G-Man, who's the leader of the evil exes and this huge record producer. So that's like the majority, that's pretty much
small cast.
And yeah. And like there's a lot of other actors and actresses in it, none who are that big of names or don't play too big of a role. But yeah, he has to defeat 7 evil exes in order to be with Ramona. And at the same time, he has to deal with his ex-high school or 17-year-old high school girlfriend getting shit on by everybody, including his band. Well, Kim especially, who is another one of his exes.
Mm-hmm. They constantly make like babysitting jokes and stuff.
Yeah. And then Scott's sister, who's younger than him, who refers to him as little brother, rips on him. Aubrey Plaza always rips on him. And then even Ramona's like, seriously? And it's one of the running jokes throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Along with Scott just being a real loser.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks, like, he kind of is, but that's why you like him.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Michael Cera plays that in like all his movies, though. He's that loser that.
This is the first time he's done it really well, though.
Yeah, I guess. So.
Like Superbad, you can kind of argue that he's like a loser, but not really. He's just like a dorky high school kid.
True.
Like that doesn't make him a loser. Like, and
Juno, he was kind of the.
Fuck Juno, that movie sucks.
Dude, I love that movie. What?
I hate that movie.
Oh, you're crazy. I like that movie a lot.
It was alright. I mean, I don't have any problems with it.
How do you hate Juno?
It's so pretentious. I can't stand. I like Ellen Page and Michael Cera, but I just couldn't stand their characters. I couldn't stand the entire thing. It's just so annoying. But let's not talk about that. Talk about this.
Damian was waiting for something to brew there for a second. I saw it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna sit back for a second.
No. Yeah, let's get back to this. And there's a lot of humor in this to make up and balance out all the action and stuff. And one of the funniest characters, he might be my favorite character, was Wallace. Because he's so like snarky and just rips on Scott like it's nothing, like we would rip on one of our friends.
Yeah. It's funny too because Wallace is the gay best friend, right?
Yes,
yeah.
His roommate, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because like normally it's kind of like the shoes on the opposite foot or whatever you want to call it, because normally like and like back when we were in high school and stuff like that, and like yes, it's not really right, but we would say, oh, like that's so gay and stuff like that. But like now it's the shoes on the other foot. Now it's the gay guy making fun of the straight kid.
Yeah. To be fair, the gay guy is not the one dating a 17-year-old.
Exactly.
But no, it's still very funny. He's consistently one of the funniest people throughout the movie.
He's great.
Honestly. And I said this before, if Dantino's listening to this, I don't mean this as an insult, but you're the non-gay version of Wallace, because he says stuff that you would say in exactly the same situations.
Yeah. I didn't mean to say we would make fun of gay people. I'm just saying we'd always say that's so gay and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably did because you're a piece of shit, but...
Probably.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. but Scott's still the loser, so obviously the loser always gets picked on.
Right, but then the movie does a great job of like establishing like by beating you over the head in a really funny way of like how much of like
a loser he actually is.
Yeah, and it's not because like he kind of is like a shitty person too. Like yeah, it's weird. Like he like kind of treats girls like crap, and he doesn't have any respect for himself. And like but like it's done so well that like you're still rooting for him. He kind of reminds me of like Aaron Eckhart from Thank You for Smoking. Like you really by all means shouldn't like the guy, but you just love him. Like I don't know why it's. And like a lot of people like a lot of people like that haven't seen the movie will look like if they were listening to us talking like, oh, it's Michael Cera, like they don't get it, but like yeah, he kind of is a douche in like some aspects. Yeah. I think in my opinion, that's what I got from the movie, as far as like tackling two girls at once, treating girls like crap that he wants to leave, and then like still being hung up on like an ex-girlfriend that made it big. Like he's not really the most likable guy on paper.
No, definitely not. And honestly, I think this is Michael Cera's best role.
Yeah, it is.
I think this was like his most well-cast position. Even though I love him in Superbad, I think he was better in this, and like this fit him. Like I don't think another actor could have played it as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
I know you don't like Juno, but I thought he was really good in Juno.
I don't think he's a bad actor, but if he's going to be playing the same role over and over, I think this was the best one.
Right. The only the one role he did that was way different than any other role he's ever did was This Is the End.
Yeah. Well, he played himself, but
he played like a
fictionalized version of himself.
Exactly,
yeah.
Which is funny because it's nothing like how he acts in the movies.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, and I shouldn't say that this is just my only favorite role of his. My probably tied for first is him as George Michael in Arrested Development.
He was in that.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen Arrested Development.
It's a great show. That's another show with a lot of like
right.
background gags, references, and stuff that pay off later.
So you have to watch the whole thing.
Well, I mean, you should because it's really good.
All right. Well,
it's all right.
It's all on Netflix.
The first season's really good.
They're all really good. Even the fourth one. The fourth one gets a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But they had to do the way they did it. I don't give a shit what you think. Your opinion does not matter.
No, it doesn't, I guess.
I'm kidding. If you don't want to like it, that's your problem. Yeah. But one of my other favorite things about this movie is the music.
It's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, it's one of their strongest parts, definitely. Like not just the music that like Sex Bob-ombs play or Clash of Demon Head or like anybody else at the Battle of Bands, including the Twins, but like the songs that all the songs were written by bands for this, but they used them so well, like anytime the bands were performing, and even in the background, the way they fit them into like whatever situation was going on. Like towards the end when like Scott's talking to Ramona, she's like, we should break up, and Gideon comes pulling up and you just hear Under My Thumb, and then you find out that he has this chip planted in the back of her neck to basically control her.
Yep.
It's just like subtleties like that, or like when Chris Evans stepped out of his trailer and he cracks his neck to the beat of the song.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's like it's to the universe. It's when he walks out, it's the Universal theme song that opens up before every movie that Universal produces. Dun dun. But like when the dun dun comes, that's when you hear the cracks, like the neck cracks.
They also do it later on too when he steps on the skateboard.
Oh, they do?
At the end of the Universal song, it's just dun dun again. He does it with the skateboard too.
That's pretty cool. I only noticed the neck crack. I didn't notice that part.
Yeah,
it's subtle. Like there's a lot of subtleties like that you may not pick up on the first time, but the more you pick up on them, the more it adds to the humor.
There's a lot of like things that like he does wrong with their signs, like when he's taking knives out like shopping and stuff like that. He's like sitting on a couch, but there's like a little sign next to him that says like "Don't sit," which
and
is
then sad hardcore.
Yeah,
or sadcore or whatever.
Oh yeah, sadcore.
He's feeling down because like he messed it up with Ramona, or he blew his first impression with her.
Yeah, he's like, and it's just perfectly, especially like that was really funny. But like the do not, even though it's like seems kind of like whatever, like not as subtle as like it should be, as like the do not sit sign sitting on the couch. It kind of just shows like he's totally not aware of whatever.
He's completely oblivious.
Yeah, and they emphasize that in the movie a lot, as far as like how oblivious he is. Like whenever like she's like, don't talk about Ramona, he just keeps asking people about who is Ramona.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And like even some of the subtle like special effects that like before some of the scenes, like before they're going to actually like they're on their way to fight an X, in the corners usually, whether it's in the top or the bottom corners, there's a song playing that, and the name of the title is a reference to like what's about to happen in the fight, which is something really subtle that I only within the last 2 times I've watched it have picked up on. But the music and like even the score, which kind of gets drowned out by the original songs created for this, is still really good.
Yeah. And
like the timing of all the beats and stuff, especially during the fights, the way they do it, I think is excellent.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I mean, my favorite song is the 13 Threshold song between when they fight the twins.
Yeah,
Like,
that song is really good.
I was actually like learning that song on bass the other day, and it's like it's not hard. It's like literally like it's like 2 chords, like da na 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 na, and it's just that like the whole time. It's like 3 3 3 6 open 1. Like it's like really.
But
like,
it fits because
on the A string.
We've constantly seen like the Sex Bob-ombs. They're a fine band, but Scott's not necessarily that great at bass.
He's not.
He's very limited in his capacity, and like when he has the bass battle with Todd, Brandon Routh's character, and Todd just blows him away. Yeah, it was like he might as well have Todd might as well have been playing War Pigs to Scott playing like I don't know, some one note thing.
Like, all right. The best example is like, all right, if you haven't seen the movie, like with the bass battle, imagine it's Todd is the Evil X?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Todd, who's played by Brandon Routh, is playing Maxwell Murder by Rancid. It's just equivalent wise. The bass in that song is insane. There's an amazing bass solo in that song that's like hard to play for bass players. And Scott Pilgrim is playing Amoeba by The Adolescents, and that's literally
or any Nickelback song,
pretty much. And like that's the equivalent. And I'm not talking crap about those.
Damian
bands
is friends with Nickelback.
I'm not talking crap about those bands unless it's Nickelback. I am talking crap about Nickelback. But
Damian's
like,
favorite band.
I love Adolescents. I love Rancid, but like that's what it is. Like if you're doing a bass battle between those people, it's just obviously Rancid's gonna win. And that's Todd. Like he's on that level.
And in that battle, they are using the effects to like show the chords they're playing and like the notes they're playing.
Yeah.
And for so many of them, Scott's just playing one note, like D D D D D D, and then he throws in like a C or something. And Todd's are just going all over the place because he's just shredding like Dentino does on guitar.
Yeah. It's the thing is though he keeps like hitting one string. Like there's literally a time where he's just hitting like. I think it's like the 9th fret or the 10th fret on the E string. It's like dun 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 dun, and then drops down to the 12th like dun 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 dun. Yeah, and it goes open, and it's just like it's kind of pathetic actually when you really look at it.
It's just a display to show how outmatched he is against these X's unless he figures something out.
Not saying I'm any better at bass. I'm not. Like I'm actually pretty bad too, but like it's just I know what I see.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, for how outmatched he starts off against each of the X's, he can really hold his own, and you would not expect that from him.
Yeah, he has it where it counts.
Yeah,
you know, and I think that's what like Ramona sees in him is that like even though he might not be very good at anything, he's willing to try for her. You know, no matter what.
He's literally willing to fight 7 evil X's who have powers and stuff.
Yeah. And actually too, he kind of sucks at guitar. Actually, remember like the one scene,
Ramona?
Yeah, for the Ramona song, it's like he can barely play without a pick. Like,
well, that's also 2 notes itself or 3 notes.
Yeah, it was just
and
like,
then he
boom,
can't write a
boom,
song because it's all
boom.
Ramona. And she goes, "Oh, I can't wait to hear when it's finished." It is.
Yeah, he straight up was like, "Oh shit!" Like it is finished.
Yeah. There's just so many subtle things that like represent his character so well.
Right, and then you really see his determination finally and where he fights the twins, I think. And talk about little subtle things and like little like nice touches. It's I mean like we're obviously got into heavy spoilers already.
It's 6 years old.
Yeah, the movie's 6 years old. The scene where they fight the twins, they play like electronic music, and whatever, it's electronic music. It's just not for me. Like I can't tell you if it's bad or not because I don't listen to it enough.
I don't listen to it at all.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. Sandstorm is like the only techno song I know. Like that's it. Oh, and the Mortal Kombat theme song. But that song's amazing
because it's Mortal Kombat.
Because it's Mortal Kombat. Yeah, the scene where they pretty much literally battle of the bands like between them, and then like,
amp versus amp.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the dragons, and then like when they like originally get destroyed, Scott Pilgrim like stands up and he starts playing, and they start playing again, and like his monster comes out, but the monster he brings out, his eyes glow green, and then Scott Pilgrim's eyes glow green too, as if like he's the one controlling the monster,
right? Which
was like really cool. So like that scene, like as cool as it was watching these like two beings fight each other, like over like sweet music. Then you're like, all right, Scott Pilgrim's like serious, like he's over like the whole crap, because at that point they were fighting whether or not they're going to stay together because of all the evil exes after the lesbian fight, which was pretty fun.
Oh well, yeah.
You'll never be able to do this to her. That when she's like having that orgasm after he touched her in the back of the knee.
Oh yeah, that part was funny too. That's also like, I don't know. Every girl has that one spot.
I guess so. I mean,
you just gotta find it.
Where's Julius?
Yeah. The end of the year.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Garbage can.
Yeah, Jesus.
Oh God.
Dumpster baby. Anyway, so.
Yeah, where did we leave off? Oh yeah, the movie.
So, right, back to that.
Yeah, Damian. Like, who? I guess there's 7 evil exes. 2 of them don't really have personality; they're just kind of there. But it also is the coolest scene in the movie, so give or take. Who was your favorite evil ex to like see on screen?
Like the favorite scene?
Like, I guess it would be your favorite scene. But like, I guess your favorite scene involving one of the evil exes.
I don't know. I think the coolest visually was the. Like you said, the Battle of the Bands, amp versus amp.
Yeah.
I like the I guess you would consider it the boss battle at the end too. I mean, just how it was choreographed and all that kind of stuff.
Great lightsaber fight.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know. They're all pretty cool. I mean, there was really none that was disappointing per se. But yeah, I mean. I would definitely say the twins and then the last one were my 2 favorite ones.
Yeah, my favorite one is the one where they fight the twins for amp versus amp.
Yeah,
like, I thought like that when I first saw it in theaters, I was like, this is the coolest thing when it comes to that I didn't know I wanted to see. Like, I never would have thought. I was like, dude, like, you know what? I really want to see like 2 beings fight each other that come from literally the sound that like the bands are producing. Yeah. Never would have thought that in my life, and like I'm so glad I saw it.
Yeah. My favorite ex was Chris Evans' character, Lucas Lee.
Right.
I think that there was...
He would be my favorite if it wasn't the other one.
Well, I'm not talking about the battle. I'm just talking about the ex himself.
Right, okay.
Even though his fight was really good, but I think his character was probably the funniest one, and his whole attitude, and then like a lot of the humor that was based off that, and Scott getting his ass kicked. But my favorite battle, I mean, the one with the twins is awesome, and then the boss fight, I don't know, it's really hard to choose. Those are probably the 2 best ones, undoubtedly.
Even
and it shows off the effects so well.
Yeah. And that's one thing too with this movie is that the effects hold up, and they stay the same throughout the movie, which is a good thing, because like there's a lot of movies you'll watch and like you'll notice the special effects are either shoddy in the beginning and they're good at the end, or they're shoddy in the beginning, or they're good in the beginning and then shoddy at the end.
X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. X-Men Apocalypse. The first Hulk movie directed by Ang Lee. The special effects were good in the beginning, and then towards the end of the movie they really start to fall apart. Like the Hulk looks like he's just like he can fly on walls. Like that's insane. So like a lot of movies have that issue. This movie doesn't. You know, that's one thing I was scared about, like the Avengers when I was first going to see that. But like the effects obviously held up for that movie.
Oh yeah,
like 100%. And this movie does that fine.
We also have Edgar Wright directing it. I mean,
yeah,
you really can't be disappointed with Edgar Wright.
Yeah, he's got a knack for like getting every detail right.
Perfection.
Yeah, he seems like a perfectionist, and he surrounds himself with good people.
Yeah, the Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, A World's End. Look, it looks like crew in that. I mean,
and what's funny too is this movie doesn't have that crew at all.
Yeah, not at all.
Like nothing.
Not cast and writing wise, but you might have similar producers or editors on it.
True.
Maybe behind the scenes more so, but yeah, it's not the trio of Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Edgar himself, which is good because it just shows like he doesn't need them in order to make a solid movie,
right?
And to still be a solid writer, because like with those 3 movies, he co-wrote with Pegg.
Nick Frost helped co-write the third one too.
Yeah, like he would help with the story, but I mean, like the actual writing of the screenplay was
just the other 2.
Edgar and Pegg, which is good because Edgar Wright I think is an awesome director. He's one of my favorites, and it's good to see that he can be successful and put out great content just without them instead of being reliant on them. Even though I would love for those 3 just to make movies the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Together.
Like that. That's a trio that can never get boring ever.
Exactly.
What would they call it? They called it the Gardetto trilogy. Cornetto. That's what it was.
Cornetto.
Yeah.
Cornetto. Whatever.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the and like each flavor like had something to do. Like for the Shaun of the Dead, it was red. For like the blood of the zombies, stuff like that. Hot Fuzz, it was blue because police.
Yeah.
And then The World's End, it was green because of aliens. So
makes sense.
Yeah, I like those movies a lot.
Oh,
they're awesome.
They're
Yeah.
great.
Even though The World's End is the worst out of them, it's still really good.
Yeah, and like it's the thing, like being the worst one out of all of them doesn't make it a bad movie. It's actually still better than most movies. The scene that cracks me up the most in The World's End is the one where like Nick Frost finally gets drunk, and he starts talking like. He's like, all right. He's like, we gotta act incognito. We're going to the next bar, and just like opens up the door like a drunkard, but like breaks the window and just keeps going. It's so funny. But yeah, Edgar Wright's the man. He makes a solid movie. This movie is completely solid. It's not. I can't think of something that I dislike about it.
There really isn't anything to dislike about this movie.
Yeah, it's not the best movie I've ever seen.
No,
I don't.
It's highly enjoyable.
Yeah, I would say it's probably in my top 20.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, I could put it up there.
But here's the thing, though. It's just such a rewatchable movie that like I watch it more than like, like I'll watch this movie more than a Star Wars movie because as much as I love Star Wars and like I've seen those movies hundreds of times, Scott Pilgrim is just way more inviting because like there's like because all the visual cues and then like
It's more entertaining.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say
for the most part.
I wouldn't say more entertaining. I just think it's more inviting. Like it just wants the viewer to come back and see like what you've missed.
And it's something that you could just pick up without knowing anything behind it.
Right, exactly. There's like so many movies today like have so much backstory, and like that's not a bad thing per se. I mean, look at the Marvel movies; like that's amazing what they've done, and then and Star Wars and all that stuff. Like Scott Pilgrim, it's nice to just have one movie. Just that one movie and nothing else around it. Like there's the comic and the video game, but that's
Yeah, not a lot of people knew the comic and video game.
Yeah, like you can just watch this movie and that's fine. That's it. It's a single movie and it's what was it, like an hour and a half, Pat? Hour 40 minutes?
Yeah, something around there. It is 112 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
112 minutes?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
So, no, wait, that's longer. No, yeah, so that's an hour. Never mind. That's
almost 2 hours.
That's almost 2 hours, yeah. No, I got confused for a second. I was thinking of an hour and 12 minutes. I was like, what? No. Yeah.
No movies are like that.
That's like Winnie the Pooh length right there.
Yeah.
Or Snow White.
It's like TV movie.
Yeah. I don't know. That's pretty much. I can go on about this movie. Is how good it is.
I just thought the video game aspect was sweet. Like, I've never seen a movie. I mean, besides shitty Pixels, to actually incorporate like a video game type.
Pixels is your friend.
Fuck off.
It's the best video game movie I've ever seen. I'll say that
Scott
much.
Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really based off a video game, but it's still the best video game movie I've ever seen.
And the music that plays in the background is a lot of it, as long as being original music, is video game inspired music too. Like when Ramona's whenever he's in the dream sequence with Ramona, or not whenever, I think it's like the first few times, and it's more prevalent the second time, where you actually hear the fairy fountain music from the Legend of Zelda series when you get your hearts replenished.
Oh, I noticed
that. And then the bass line from Final Fantasy.
Well, he's like, I like the bass line from Final Fantasy 7.
Or Final Fantasy 2.
2. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I just said it, dude.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
And then, there's some 8-bit going on, or especially during the fights, you could hear, and the effects are very 8-bit, like classic, like NES and Super Nintendo and Sega and stuff.
Yeah, you can go. Like, I noticed the Zelda fairy theme like right away. And then whenever he like knocks out an evil X when it says KO, that's straight from a fighting game arcade. Like it sounds like it could be right from Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Or like Virtua Fighter or like any of those games. Like the over the top eccentric KO.
Yeah.
And like it was really cool and like it's for a movie that should be in all intents and purposes like have so many distractions that keep me away from the story. It's like the exaggerated visuals and like the cartoony and video game aspect that actually like grabs me into more of their real life situation between like the relationships
Like
of all
it
the
adds
people.
into the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does enhance the entire movie.
Right. Yeah. It's I don't
without overdoing it.
It's kind of a shame like this movie didn't really pick up until like years later almost.
I think it probably had something to do with the marketing. I don't think it was marketed that well.
It wasn't. And I think you know what it is? I remember the trailer like being like a good representation of what you went into the movie, and I think that turned people off. Mm-hmm. I almost wish the trailer kind of sucked and like gave people like a generic view of what they were getting.
Yeah.
When I saw the trailer, I wasn't interested at all, like I was saying before. But the more and more I heard about it, I was like, oh, maybe this movie's actually pretty good. And then when you guys called me today, it's like, oh, we should watch this movie. It's really good. I was like, all right, well, you know what? Let me just do it. And I was surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like the video game that was on Xbox Live Arcade and the PSN network for 360 and PlayStation 3 was really fun, and it's like the same thing. We
used to play it at Tom's house all the time.
Yeah, we used to play at Tom's house. Shout out to Tom Cotter. It flows really well, and the graphic, like the comic graphic novel series, I haven't read a lot of it. I think I only read the first issue, but I liked it. But a lot of people love it. And I do want to read it again, but it's very well received.
You know, that's one of the things too is that all those books were at OCC when I went there, and I was like, I'm gonna because I used to read so much. They had a lot of like graphic novels there, a lot. That's where I first read GLA vs Avengers, the Dark Knight Return sequel, Dark Knight Strikes Again. Like there were so many graphic novels that I would just like I would have like a 2-hour break. I would just rip through them there. And like I don't know why I never picked up Scott Pilgrim. The movie is called Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, but the comics are individualized. It's like Scott Pilgrim versus
blank,
blank insert name here. So like, and I love the art of the comic too. It's very like children's anime ish,
in a way.
And like it's kind of like. You know, like Scott Pilgrim has the Astro Boy shirt on. Did you ever watch Astro Boy?
Yes.
That's a really cool cartoon, especially like the 90s one or early 2000s. I forget when it came. I watched it in early 2000s. The animation in the comic and like the way the comic's set up, it looks like a manga. And I'm not like super into manga, but like I know the art style when I see it, and like it reminds me like Japanese very like subtly. You know, it's not like heavy into it.
Right, and there was a scene or two that they did use that graphic style in it, like from the books.
Yeah, when they would do flashbacks on the X's.
Yeah, and then they actually released like a few-minute animated prequel to the movie that had background on Scott and Kim's relationship called Scott Pilgrim vs. the Animation that I definitely recommend, and it's done in the same art style. And Scott actually says like what he did to Ramona, and Ramona thought he was being sarcastic, but that actually takes place in the animation, which is really cool. And yeah, the movie was well received, even by like fans who love the comic and stuff. And there's actually one line when he goes in the second time to the Chaos Theater to fight Gideon, the guy who knows everything, I forget his name, like in the scene before that he goes, oh yeah, the first album's good, but it's not as good as the first album. So when he walks back in, he goes, yeah, the movies are never as good as the comic book.
Yeah,
which is just like a little, Edgar Wright poking fun at himself or at the adaptations and stuff. Yeah, it's just really funny. And one of the things that some people were a little bothered by was the ending, like how Scott ended up going with Ramona over knives. Because I think it might have been the original ending that they just released on the DVD as an alternate ending. Was Scott, said his goodbye to Ramona and then went back together with knives. But that one didn't test well.
No, I don't like that ending.
I don't either. I prefer that he ends up with Ramona because the entire movie he fought to get with Ramona. I think it would have been dumb for him to like, oh yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
I learned a bit about myself through that, but I'm gonna go with Knives.
That's like if the shark came out of the water and ate the two survivors in Jaws. Like, you're just like, dude, you just killed it. Like, you just fought this.
It didn't fit.
Yeah, it just didn't fit. Yeah, that ending sucks, honestly. I'm so glad they went with Ramona because that makes sense. You fought for her the whole time.
Yeah, that's what the movie is about. Obviously throughout the fights he learned more and more about himself, but he fought for Ramona and learned those things about himself to be with Ramona. I think the ending with him being with Knives just would have not been good.
It wouldn't have ruined the movie for me, but like this podcast would be different. I'd be like, it's a great movie, but like that ending sucked. Like, I'm glad they went with the better choice.
I agree.
Yeah. It's I don't mean to be cynical, but like this whole time I'm trying to think, like, is there something I don't like about this movie? But there's really nothing I just don't like. It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
I like the scene where Knives like knocks on Scott's apartment, and he's like, "Oh, is Scott here?" And he jumps out the window.
Oh yeah, like noticeably jumps out the window.
Yeah, noticeably grabs his
She's
jacket.
very naive.
Yes.
Knives is naive,
And they play that off very well.
Yeah.
And they actually make her name into a pun a couple times, like, and her Chinese heritage against her, like when Gideon calls her Kung Pao chicken, and when she wants to invite Scott to dinner, he's like,
You can't
Chinese
eat my
food.
kind?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is kind of like oh, Chinese food, like
Yeah.
like no, like family, like dinner with
But
my
see,
family.
he's oblivious to that because he doesn't know that it's like a bad thing to assume.
Yeah.
And then even at the end, when Scott's saying goodbye to her, he goes, Chow Knives. And her name is Knives Chow.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just something funny that they did a couple times.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else we can talk about this movie? I mean, I guess there's really, when you do research on the movie, there's really nothing like production wise that was like difficult that they had to deal with.
No.
Like, and it's one of those movies you can tell like it was just a fun movie to work on. Which is like an Edgar Wright thing. Like a lot of people that have worked with him in the past like working with him.
Right.
Is there something that you know, Pat, that you've heard about the movie?
No, I haven't heard anything like negative about it. Like even I think the writer Brian Lee O'Malley of the books was very involved with the script. He contributed some lines, and then I think he had part of the suggestion about changing the ending to match the books, like changing it from him ending up with Knives to going with Ramona.
In the books, does he end up with Knives or Ramona?
I'm gonna assume with Ramona because I think the ending was to match how it is in the books.
Okay.
But I don't know because I didn't read them. So
I think that's something we gotta get on.
yeah.
And then we can do a review.
I do.
Books.
Yeah, I do. I kind of wish they would make another one because Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is the second volume of the books.
Oh, really?
But I think they incorporated stuff from like the entire 6 volumes into the movie.
Yeah,
but I'm sure there's other material that they can,
Squeeze out to make another
squeeze it.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
but it probably.
But like, I don't want them to do like 300 Rise of an Empire, like where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is backstory that just is bad. I mean, 300 doesn't really hold up that well already. It's still not a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it way more when I first saw it.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
The more you watch, you're like,
Yeah, that's a movie I'm like embarrassed to kind of think about. Like, dude, I told people this was like the best movie I've ever seen. Like,
Well, everybody said that when we were in high school. So,
yeah,
I mean,
we were like, that movie was like gung ho. Like, we like in hallways, people were screaming like Sparta.
Yeah, you see
like,
300? Oh yeah.
yeah, it was. Yeah, like now I watch it now. That happens to everybody. Everybody has that movie they thought was really good when they first saw
Robbie
it.
does that all the time though.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, it's the greatest movie ever made. Greatest movie. Like 2 weeks later, movie sucked.
Dude, he didn't like Deadpool.
Well, he's an idiot.
You'll
Yeah.
like Deadpool in 3 weeks.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, once you realize, they all like Deadpool, I'm gonna like Deadpool now.
Because he's just jumping on the train.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Bandwagoner.
I hope he hears this.
Just like
hope
how
he's
he's a
sick.
fan of the Ravens and the Orioles.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I went to a Ravens game one time, so I'm a Ravens fan.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Oh my god! All right,
Anyway.
if we're talking now, if we're talking about somebody that we only know and most people don't,
Right.
I think it's time to end the episode.
Connor, 2 questions for you. What would you rate the movie, and where would you rank it in Edgar Wright's films? In terms of how much, like, in terms of your favorite of his 4 or whatever
that he's directed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He directed only 4 major movies.
He might have directed another.
He might. I know he's directed TV.
Yeah, I've never seen any of his TV stuff. I've just seen his movies.
I mean, those
that he's actual director on. Yeah, this is. Oh no, 5. One of them was not released though. I think it was like a festival thing. It's called The Fistful of Fingers. I don't know if it was ever actually like got a
never saw it, but now I have to see it.
Yeah, well, it was released or created in 1995.
Oh,
so technically 4 actual major releases.
All right, so out of the 4, I would rank this number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I would give the movie like a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's not the best movie I've ever seen, but there's just nothing wrong with it. Like, everything is good. And for me, with Edgar Wright, it's Hot Fuzz is number 1. I think that's one of the funniest movies ever made. Scott Pilgrim, Shaun of the Dead, and then World's End.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would probably give it about an 8, and I would rank it number 3. I still think Shaun of the Dead's better, but I would agree with you. Hot Fuzz is definitely
the best
best one of all of them.
Yeah,
and I went into it not think, there's nothing you can't top Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead was hysterical.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, Shaun of the Dead, like, you can never top that.
And then I went to go see Hot Fuzz. I was like, holy shit, this movie's really, really funny.
By halfway through Hot Fuzz, I knew it was better.
Oh yeah.
And then like the whole Greater Good scene, was crying. I saw it in theaters too, and I was the loudest one laughing.
Yeah, my brother and I, we saw that. It was great.
Yeah.
What about you, Pat?
I would also give it a 9 out of 10, and I would put it in a tie with Shaun of the Dead for second.
Okay.
Obviously, Hot Fuzz is number 1, and then The World's End would be fourth. Even though I still do love that movie, but it's just
the weaker of 4.
Not the best out of.
It's the child that got B's in high school.
Yeah. It's like the Connor.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I got C's and B's.
Okay, so the movie's not that bad.
But I did really good in college though, so that's where it counts. Even though it took me
30 years,
7 years to graduate.
That's right.
Yeah, that about wraps it up. If you have seen the movie, let us know what you think. Put that in the comments below. If there's things you didn't like about it,
if you didn't like the movie, please tell me why.
Yeah, I would like to know why.
I would like to know why, and that's not being sarcastic. It's just I would like to know what someone might not like about this movie.
Yeah. If you did like the movie and you don't have the soundtrack or haven't listened to it, definitely check it out because there's a bunch more songs on it that weren't in the movie that are still really good.
Yeah.
And I think there's versions of like what the cast performed and then like the original songs that the bands created. I think there's versions of both in the soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you still have, I don't know if it's still available on the Xbox Live Arcade or the PSN for PS3, but if it is, definitely get the game. It was really fun. It's something fun you could play with like your friends without being like.
It's a good couch game.
Yeah, and it's not like a Smash Brothers where like you're playing and you're trying to destroy your friend and break them down and criticizing them and harassing them. Yeah. It's something you play together.
It's a total opposite of what we do on Smash Nights.
Right.
Oh, Smash Nights. Come see me.
Smash Nights are brutal.
Dude, the last
friendships are tested.
Last one I played terribly.
I destroyed all of you.
I admit
Tommy couldn't kill me. You're just garbage.
I will fucking own you.
One night we'll have to film our Smash Nights and put them up.
It's the Smash Nights or Super Smash Brothers.
Yes.
Not a gay orgy.
Some people do that in our friend group, but I'm not one of those participants.
Damian,
a lot of Damian and Connor.
Conway.
Anyway, thanks for listening. Like, share, comment, subscribe, download on iTunes, rate us on iTunes. Connor just released a couch review of the original Amityville Horror. Go listen to that. Mm-hmm. Watch it. Like, comment, share, subscribe on the couch review as well. If you can't find it on one of our Twitters or Facebooks, it's on the featured channel on the right side of our main page.
Yeah, whether it's a couch review or
the
Awesome Sunday Show
channel. Yeah. And you can follow me on Twitter at RickPatMick.
And I'm at Less Than Connor.
And I'm at Damian Daniello.
Nobody gives a shit about that.
Thanks.
You can follow the show at Awesome Sun Show. Connor, you haven't said in a while, so say the thing.
Okay. Twitter is very generous with the characters. When I tried to make the Twitter page, I just wanted to make it Awesome Sunday Show. You couldn't give me 3 more characters. Like, it's so annoying. Like, I get it because there's a 140 character limit, so like you have to be sparing. But like, dude, I think the whole 10,000 character limit thing is stupid that Twitter ever thought about. But I think they should raise it to 200 characters and leave it flat like that. Because it still like doesn't let people ramble on about bull crap, and then you can just...
You just want an increase in the account name. That's what you want.
That's exactly it. That's the only reason why.
Yeah. And you can follow The Couch Review on Twitter at The Couch Review.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Have a great Sunday, and fuck Damian.
Game of Thrones.
Wow.